Kia ora and welcome. Thanks so much for downloading our 11th podcast. I'm Mike Riversdale, working for dev teams, Kiwis moving to the cloud, growing companies and making ripples in the Miramar community. I am busy.
And I'm Raj. My background is film, television, design, media and tech. And you're here because you're a Kiwi that either works in or has a great passion for tech and media in New Zealand. Have another great show for you today. Later we'll be catching up with Lou Draper from Loud and Public.
Episode 11, double ones. Let's get the news.
Kids consider technology a bum subject.
Dear.
The government's saying it's going to review where information technology fits in within the school curriculum and will try to reverse the slide in the quality of science education. The Ministry of Education and Business Innovation and Employment released, it's a long one, it's a joint thing, released a report indicating there's been a gradual decline over the years 11 to 13 in the proportion of students enrolled in science-related subjects. And the performance of those subjects has also declined.
Gosh.
Ian McRae, chief executive of health software firm Orion Health, last year called for information technology to become a scholarship academic subject in schools, even compulsory for years 9 to 10. It's treated as an equal subject like biology, physics. He says digital technology in schools is lumped in with metalwork, sewing, food technology, and those kids consider those bum subjects. So it's not attracting the very academic kids who are on the subjects like chemistry and physics. We have taught people how to use PowerPoint.
Oh my God, yes.
I couldn't say it with a straight face. But we're teaching kids logic and algorithms. And we're not teaching kids algorithm, logic and programming. I think this has impacted the industry as part of the way we've got a shortage, right, in New Zealand.
Absolutely.
And one of the things Mike and I have talked about over the past 11 podcasts is about getting a steady stream of people into the industry, and starting at school level would be good.
Definitely.
Angela Roberts, president of the PPTA, which is a Post-Primary Teachers Association, says what would be really great is we would get to see more opportunity for sharing of the best practice and collaboration between teachers who are leading this around the system, and for more professional development.
That's one of the issues, I suppose, isn't it? Is that teaching computers in university or school or wherever, it's such a fast-moving industry that they just need to be on top of their ball.
That's right.
Amongst everything else they do.
By the time they're out, it's changed already, right?
Yeah.
And the strategy also included steps to encourage more youth, and particularly girls, to get into science and technology-based careers. Paul Matthews, the chief executive of Institute of Information Technology Professionals, who's also called for the elevation in the status of ICT within the curriculum, says the report by the ministries was only a review in the first step. He commented, "We would be very surprised if it didn't result in a change. The government and the industry and pretty much everyone else understands we need to deal with this."
Absolutely.
The report said the student achievement in science was declining in part because the science teachers weren't always confident in teaching science and did not always have the access, to appropriate resources.
We've got this thing called the internet.
Yeah.
Surely we can connect people and teachers and information.
I'm sure they've heard of it. But
Yeah.
I don't know how many are actually connected to it on a daily basis.
Well, it's changing. I know it's changing around some of the schools I know about.
Well, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good to hear. The government would like to establish an initiative to support schools and teachers to build confidence and access to develop rich and contextualised science programs that are exciting for students, apparently. So hopefully they'll get something going, they're thinking about it at least, right?
I think if they support the schools and the teachers to do it for themselves, excellent. If they then write it and tell them what to do, oh dear.
Yeah.
Interesting, there's another article coming up soon that we'll talk about, which is from the UK, which talks to that. Anyway, SIL plans to enter the US market by early 2015. Do you know SIL semantics?
I'm not aware, no.
You're not aware, and it's a natural language-based search technology provider. So I think Google, the Google box, the Google search appliance, the big yellow box that a lot of companies buy, stick in, and it indexes all your documents and what have you.
So it's a local, your own local Google for your own stuff.
Yes, but this is SIL semantics. It's a very similar approach. I suppose it's finding information, but instead of doing it the Google way, they do it their own way, which is very different and natural language based.
Okay.
It's an interesting product. They're looking to enter the US market by early next year, says CEO Sean Wilson. So I put this in so that we can all put this in our calendar. And by this time next year, we can all go and have a chat with Sean and say, how'd it go?
So instead of Googling something, you'll semantic.
That's it.
Sill it.
Sill it. Back in the Waveadept days, sort of 2008, 2009, we were actually a neighbour of SIL. We sat in the desks next to them, as well as Green Button, as it happens. And I have to say, it was fascinating about the tech, just listening to how they're creating a product and the theories that go behind it is amazing. But I was a bit, oh yeah, you're taking on the big boys, you're taking on the Microsofts and the Googles and like, but they have, and they've done it. So top work, they're still around.
It's awesome.
It was also interesting to read Sean's comments in Computer World about how they see New Zealand, and I quote, "We see New Zealand as an incubator. We talk to multinationals and see if they can see value in what SIL does. For us, it's about establishing relationships to 2 or 3 of those multinational vendors as fast as possible. Where they see our products go and how they perceive value for customers and their solutions is hugely important to us. We do have a roadmap, but that might shift based on the shape of the demand that we get." There's 2 things there. New Zealand as one great big huge incubator. That's a fascinating thought. I mean, I keep saying we're a very small place. That's interesting. We got all these little pockets of incubators popping up around. Why isn't there one just for New Zealand? Also, yeah, changing for the big boys. Do they dance to the big boys' tunes only? Or is this recognising that we are small and let's stand on the shoulders of giants out there? I don't know. We've got some biggies, though, and SIL have been working in partnership with Datacom. They've got some biggies with Datacom for around 18 months, and they're going to use their strength in Australia to enter the market, and they're going to also consider other global entry points. Have you ever had one of those?
I have. I've heard it on a PowerPoint.
Excellent. Such as Malaysia. So it's nice to hear SIL doing well. I'm really happy for them. And the pattern here that we've talked about other companies is keep building the product, nurture the relationships, and grow out of the bedroom into an office and into overseas markets. Slowly as she goes.
Tech jobs of the future, and what to study if you want a cool job tomorrow. Imagine a world where you can control your dreams with computer software, have a pizza delivered to your house via a drone,
Oh, yes.
have your fat deposits removed from your arteries by nanobots, the size of fleas.
Oh, yes.
A decade ago, these ideas were science fiction, right? You only saw it in Star Trek.
Yep.
Today, they're becoming science fact.
Excellent. I want to buy one.
Yeah, well, you could get into something. This is one of the jobs I'm thinking about. You could get into brain therapy. So it's not brain surgery, brain therapy, where human brains become more of a focus for both doctors and technology developers. Scientists rather, are looking for better ways to combat disease and abnormalities in the brain. It's not rocket science, people. It's brain therapy.
Yeah, very good.
What about cybersecurity?
Did you put this story in so you can use that joke?
I know, I love it. Yeah, rocket science. What about cybersecurity? With the increasing use of cloud services, and as more people in business continue doing more business online, the demand for cybersecurity expertise will grow. You could be a drone programmer about that.
That's pretty bizarre.
I mean, you've probably heard of Amazon's drones delivering products to your home in less than 30 minutes.
Well, I've heard the dream that they would like it to happen.
Yes, that's the marketing spin said that's what's going to happen.
That's right.
Yes. In reality, this is all these drones are going to need. They're going to need experts to know how to build them, program them, and fly them and repair them. I would love to know how to fly them properly. Anyway, these days everyone's talking about drones, like investigators, journalists want to use them in the field. Filmmakers, I reckon this would be great to get those high-angled shots in places you can't get to. You just remote control it, you know. Excuse my wamble there.
Oh, yeah, a bit of a wamble there,
wamble going on.
Yeah, hope that doesn't pick up.
Real estate agents, farmers, and construction companies want to use them to capture aerial images of property and land. So I guess Google Maps is not good enough. They want to get right in there.
Wow.
How about a virtual reality designer?
Oh, yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
I mean, Oculus Rift is a prime example, but virtual reality isn't just about games. And this has been developing over, 30 years now, so it's getting there slowly. The applications are endless in other fields like medicine, architecture, science, engineering. The ability to design and program virtual worlds will surely require some highly technical training, and keep in mind that the very nature of creating virtual worlds, you're going to be quite creative. Mm-hmm. So this will require very creative individuals for this particular one.
I'm fucked then.
Yeah. There'll be many roles like this that will crop up as technology advances. We'll need more programmers to help maintain these great innovations. And if you're a student or a worker looking to switch careers, you might want to look into this. The key is to getting training and the skills you need to enter those fields.
And that goes back to what you were saying before about the ICT training in our schools.
That's
and
right.
how we can get better at that.
It's got to start from somewhere, right?
It has. And in the UK, that is actually all about to change from next month. Mm-hmm. They used to have a subject called Information and Communications Technology, which was all about teaching students how to use
some sort of PC.
The PowerPoint!
Oh, PowerPoint! Not again, no! When will the madness stop?
Yes. Well, it has in Britain. It's stopped. It's been axed. And they've got a new computer science course thing that's going to be called Computing.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
logical.
It's going to be coding, basically.
Right.
And the way they've set this up is during their summer, which is what they're having now, they've run a whole bunch of hackathons with kids to form the curriculum about how are we actually going to do this. So they've been running some hands-on coding creation, and that out of that, not just that, of course, is going to come the curriculum that's going to be rolling out very soon. So Kiwis, we can do this as well. This is changing the curriculum, and we've already heard that it's a great idea. We should. Why don't we just learn from the UK government and do what they're doing and take it to the kids and say, would this work? Wow, we've got a really big podcast this week.
Yeah.
And also we've got Raj with his Wambles. I don't know if anyone can hear that. We're not going to tell you what a Wamble is, by the way. You're just going to have to go and find out what it is.
Yeah.
So.
It's not contagious.
It's not
just
contagious.
So you know.
That's excellent. There was an interview in Computer World recently with the NZ Tech CEO. We've already mentioned a few of these associations. NZ Tech we talked about them last week as well. It's one of those tech associations. We don't have enough big ICT companies was the headline. It was a great interview, actually, in Computer World with Candice Kinser. I hope I said that right. She's the CEO of the New Zealand Technology Industry Association, NZ Tech, which is one of those many ones vying for your tech association. In a nutshell, she points to the following as key focuses for the association. And number one on the list was education. All getting the skills. This is excellent. Government relationship, so the relationship that her association has. Immigration, that again goes back to skills, how to make it easier for companies to get skills into New Zealand. And having one voice representing the whole of the industry. Do you know there are more than 50 industry associations in New Zealand?
Wow.
Holy fuck, that's a lot of subcommittees with white middle-aged men talking geek. And she recognised that a number of them have been around a lot longer than her group, but also there are more starting up all the time. And there's a lot of them that are regionally based, of course. So what's the point? Locals doing it locally is good. No? Well, Candice shoots straight from the hip and says, we are quite happy to be the body that actually is the one that interfaces with the government. And quite happy to represent different ideas and opinions. I'll just let that settle. I wonder how NZ Rise would respond to that offer. But hey, look, techies talking is good. Seriously, talking is good. We're way too small a country to be fucking around with petty committee politics. But if we all that we hear is next story. I'm doing a link. Badly.
I believe what Mike is attempting to do is a segue.
Oh, it's a segue.
That's what it is.
Oh.
And it completely failed, but that's okay.
I thought a segue was those little bikes things that fall off cliffs and kill the owners.
Oh, those little bike things. Yeah, no. That's a different type of segue.
Oh, okay.
That's one you don't want to be part of.
Fair enough. Right. I still don't know what the cloud is.
Oh, come on, Mike, you've been doing this a while.
I should know, shouldn't I? But I don't. To be perfectly frank with you, I actually don't know what the cloud is. And when I do, I'm bemused. It's fascinating to hear in a number of reports, and we've got the links to where we found all this information, to hear that many people, and especially Kiwis, still don't know what the jolly bellhops the cloud is. Is it all marketing? As I told Sam Roy on Twitter the other day, alongside growth hacking, social enterprise, and eco-biz. I don't know, maybe it is. To most people with a business in New Zealand, just being online is a leap of magic and technology wizardry they just can't be asked to take. We've all seen the plumbers' vans driving around with their extra email addresses plastered all over it. Lordy Lord, it's like living in 1998 sometimes. And this was highlighted at the Internet NZ AGM a few days ago, as they ran through the slowdown in growth of .nz domains being registered. There was a whole bunch of reasons for that. One of their researchers had looked into the number of Kiwi businesses that have their own domain and discovered it's pitiful. Yes, Vend has one. Yes, the Ministry of Blah Blah has 15 sites. Yes, #me has a site. And we all know where it is.
Yep.
But 95% of companies in New Zealand are small. And they have less than 25 members, staff, I should say. And they're just not online. And if you're not online, when talking about if you're not online, you're missing out nowadays on business, on dollars. But also, if you're not online and someone like me comes along and says, oh, what about the cloud? It's like talking to a child about algebra when they've just brought home their latest fridge art. It's a step too far and way too early.
They'd become scared, wouldn't they? They'd be fearful of it straight away.
Exactly. Look, I recently gave a presentation to some senior government policy associates about how they could use the cloud and mobiles just to make their own lives easier. And it blew their minds, which, well, I'll be honest, surprised me. I'll link to the prezzo in the show notes. And anybody who has got this cloud thing sorted will go, really, Mike? Is that it? Yes. But when poor Kiwi companies, all they hear about the cloud, it's generally about how GCHQ and the US spooks have all clubbed together to steal all their information, and how the current government nearly made that even easier by letting the NSA put equipment on our internet connection to the world. So what to do? Well, getting online is the first step, and our audience should already be there. And let us know your website, and we'll link to it in the show notes. But for the plumbers and the cafes and the fruit and veg shops, check out the Internet NZ Get Yourself Online campaign on YouTube. Don't just watch it yourself, though. Pass it
That's
on
a great
to those
idea.
that need to see it.
That's absolutely a great idea. Because we've, in my previous jobs, clients come to us, sometimes a medium business, sometimes small. You've got the Hey, I'm Joe blogs at extra.co.nz, and it's on their business card. They did it in, PowerPoint or Publisher, and it just drives me into it. The first thing I do is we buy a domain name.
Yeah.
First thing we do. Cost you $19, damn it. Just buy the domain name.
Exactly.
Hook your email up, Google Apps or something like that.
Yeah.
It works every time. They say, well, look, I look so much more professional.
Yes.
That's the first step, Before we look at logos and blah, blah. So have you got a domain? Usually the answer is, what's that? And I'm on Extra.
Yeah. Or I'm on Facebook as well. Another one is, and the issue with being on Facebook, it's not wrong with being on Facebook. It's a great place to grow your business, but it's not yours.
That's right.
And they can take it away, and you're playing in someone else's little walled garden. Big walled garden. So anyway, back to the cloud. Look, our government is getting more of its own cloud with the Takanini data centre on track to finish in October. This is a Gen I jobby. This is an old story from April, and we're all dying to know what is actually going to go on these humming machines in this shiny new Tier 3 data centre. Email, calendaring, websites. Let's hope for more, eh?
Probably just going to play Quake.
But hold the horses. Rackspace plans direct presence in New Zealand as well.
Oh, really?
Yes. And with Amazon and their AWS presence over the ditch and a concerted effort to woo Kiwi companies and government agencies, we seem to be in the middle of a data centre rush at the moment to get the Kiwi businesses using them. But of course, if people don't know what the fuck the cloud is, then it's early days.
Yeah, just the beginning. And here's some of the stories we'd love to hear your feedback on. And we just didn't have time to talk about them today on the show, and today's quite a lengthy show. We've got so much on.
It is. One of the tips for people who listen to podcasts that are long? Double speed.
Times to it. Keep going.
You'll get through.
And of course, all those links are to the show notes. And how do you get to those show notes? Well, you could always...
use DuckDuckGo!
Beautiful. Global survey reveals NZ firms are less mature in using mobility. The best places in the world to start a company. This is a nice infographic. A list of countries that have the best environment for startups. To view all those in more detail, check out the show notes.
DuckDuckGo!
And that's all the news you need to know this week. Events. Events, a chance to get out of your office pod and meet your fellow Kiwis making computers do things. First up, Waikato ICT Community, Thursday night curry.
Oh, nice.
Sounds good, actually. Down at Zyco on Victoria Street, 7th of August, from 6:30 onwards.
The Agile NZ Conference, as you all know, is at Te Papa in Wellington on the 3rd and the 4th of September. You can go to agilenz.co.nz.
Wellington Python Meetup. It's not about snakes, right?
Oh, I hope not.
Thursday.
But Monty Python.
Yeah. That's on a Thursday, on the 14th of August at 6 p.m. at Catalyst House on Willis Street in Wellington. You'll find that on meetup.com. Understanding IT governance. That sounds quite heavy. Mm-hmm. It's on the 20th of August, 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock at the University of Otago in Auckland.
And we've still got the Amazon's re-event in LA that will be streamed. That's November the 11th to 14th. And finally, the one we want to talk about, because we're going to meet you all there, is the biggie. It is still the biggie, I believe. Pure tech, businessy tech conference in New Zealand is the Microsoft NZ Tech Ed. That's the 9th and the 12th of September in Auckland, various parts of Auckland. We're going to be there. Yep. And we want to meet people and say hi.
We want to talk to you, basically. You're the one that's listening to us right now.
There you go.
We want to talk to you.
Tech is not just about tapping a keyboard. I know, startling. We have the processes, the people, the customers, and the products. And getting those final two, the customers and the product, to connect is not what geeks have done their finest working, to be fair. And so this fantastic interview with Lou Draper from Loud in Public, it's a publicity firm that's taken on a lot of tech startups recently, is full of hints and tips about how to get your product stories out there. Listen up. Well, hi everybody. Today we are in our first cafe, and of course we've been in a cafe because we're with Lou Draper, who is going to be talking PR, tech PR with us. Hi Lou, welcome.
Hello, how are you?
Can you give us a wee bit of intro to yourself and tell us where you're from and what you do?
Sure. So I'm a publicist. I'm not a PR, as a lot of people tend to call it. They say, "Oh, you're a PR." PR actually stands for public relations, and so the role of a person who works in public relations is actually a publicist. There are a number of different types of people who work under the umbrella of PR: comms managers, writers, creatives, all that sort of stuff. But I'm a publicist, and what that means is I get you in the media, into the newspaper, onto the television, onto the radio, onto wonderful podcasts like this.
Nice plug.
Yes.
Loving it.
And
Cool.
That's my role.
Hey look, I've already learned something.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So she's not a PR.
She's not
she's
APR. That's
in
like saying
PR.
you are the tech, is
That's
it? That's
right.
like saying you
That's-
are IT.
That's right, yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. Now, some people don't like the term publicist, especially overseas in the US. They do not like it. I think it's because it has quite a negative connotation of, being a spin doctor or someone who just makes a whole lot of shit up that's not true. And in some cases, people do that, but in the tech scene, it is really all about truth.
So how, I know you were initially, I nearly said it, a PR, a publicist, based up in Auckland, and you
Yes.
moved down to Wellington a year or so ago?
No, how about 4 years ago?
4 years ago. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
And we've met you through, of course, the tech scene. This is why we're talking to you on this tech podcast. But you didn't do that up in Auckland?
No. So I was a lifestyle publicist in Auckland. I had an agency called Rockstar PR, and that was all about fashion, booze, shoes, beauty, all that kind of stuff. I like
Rock
to
and
call
roll
it
stuff, isn't it?
fluffy kind of stuff. And it was very different to what I'm doing now. So
Yes, and now, tell us what you do now. It is very different, isn't it?
Very different. So now, of course, I'm working with a lot of tech companies, and that's largely because I'm in Wellington, and Wellington is the tech hub of New Zealand, and you can say that there is a tech hub in Auckland, but it will never be the same as what's down here. So that's why I'm now working in tech, and I've been doing this tech kind of work for about 7 months now, and it's brilliant. It's really expanding my mind, which is good.
Excellent.
So what do you find the differences are in terms of the tech scene in Auckland and in Wellington?
Well, I don't know, because I haven't done any tech work in Auckland at all. I've only just started doing tech work down here. But I think people are more serious down here than in Auckland. I think people like the idea of a startup and the idea of creating this wonderful thing that's going to make them a millionaire. But down here, I think it's people do it because they're passionate about it, because they've been, perhaps coding in their bedroom for, their whole life, and they're making what they've done their whole life into a job and into a career and into, wealth, perhaps.
Hopefully. So, shoes and booze, and then tech publicist. What's the challenges of being a tech publicist, and particularly in Wellington?
Oh, goodness. Okay, so the challenges that I've had is actually being able to understand what all of you are talking about.
The lingo.
The lingo.
All the lingo.
The lingo, yeah. You talk about different coding languages, you talk about all sorts of stuff that just, it doesn't compute into my brain. If you talk about lipstick, well, I can tell you 50,000 different shades. And if you're talking about shoes, well, yeah, I know all about that. That's really easy. And I think the biggest challenge is that because I've got personal experience with lipstick, shoes and booze and fashion, it's a lot easier for me to be able to identify with that, as opposed to tech, which I've got an iPhone and I've got an iPad, and there's a whole bunch of apps on there, and they go, and that's brilliant.
It's a start.
But, that's about as far as it goes.
And do you think that's a challenge? I mean, obviously a personal challenge to get your head around the geek speak, but is there also a challenge that the tech companies, they don't tell their story very well because that's the language they generally use?
Yeah, absolutely. So I met one company a couple of months ago, and he wasn't able to tell me what his business did or what the story was or what it was about. He could tell me all of the technical functions of it and how it operated internally, but not actually this is my business, this is what it does, this is how it benefits my future customers. And I think until tech startups and organisations can nail that, they don't really have a hope of being able to get publicity around what they're doing.
Yeah.
So you can't just have a great idea, you need to be able to articulate it
Absolutely.
out to the market.
Absolutely.
Well, tell the story put yourself into the customer's point of view and tell their story with your product, as opposed to, I've got 9 buttons and one's green and it does this.
Yeah, that's exactly
Using .NET.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, or whatever.
.NET, I've learned a lot about .NET. Apparently there's not many people who can do .NET stuff, and if they are, they've all been taken by a big organisation in Wellington. Apparently.
0!
Is it 0?
0!
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're in Microsoft Shop, I'm sure. They're taking everybody, mate, don't worry.
Really?
Every skill set you can think of,
every
they've
skill
probably
set.
got.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Every single client, potential customer, anyone that I catch up with, after we've talked about stories and communications and PR, they all say, look, Lou, you're probably not going to know this, but do you have anyone that you know of that can do .NET, that can do XML, that can do blah, 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 blah? And I just look at them blankly and go, no, but I'll find them, because that's what I do.
Just letters of the alphabet until you know what it does.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
So how did you've been here for 4 years and then tech came along into your life. How did you make that transition? Now, in my mind, I've got 50 coffees approach that you do. Do you want to explain
50
what
coffees.
50 coffees was?
50 coffees. Okay, so there is a gentleman in LA, Peter, I've forgotten his last name, sorry, Peter. He came up with this concept in business that when you start a new business, if you start it or make any major changes, you need to discuss that change with 50 people, take them out for coffee and get their feedback on what it is that you want to do and get their insight, and then see if that's still the path that you want to take. And I thought, well, that's cool, I could do that, but to really meet people and expand my network, because I'm new in Wellington, and I know everyone in Auckland, but I know like 5 people in Wellington, so I really need to be able to do that. And in terms of building my business, well, I'm not going to discuss every single change, because Wellington just isn't big enough and people will get really sick of me soon. So I'll use it as building a network and being able to meet people. And I think because 90% of the businesses in Wellington who I've been meeting with are all in the tech space, it was apparent that there was a need for some tech PR.
So, one last question I've got, which is, from a tech world from which I live in, and you possibly have already said this because this is a tip-laden interview, which is fantastic. What is the one thing you say? If I had a brand new company and we had a product and a few clients and we said, and I came to you and I said, I want one tip that's good, that you can give me that will make a difference in my publicity. And it could be stop doing something or do something, just the one tip.
See, you've just asked a publicist to say one thing.
I have.
What planet are you on? Okay, one thing is plan. Write everything down that you're going to do. Don't fluff about. There's 3 things.
There you go. No.
See, she still only managed to get...
I just can't do it.
Put it down to 3.
No, that's
really
cool.
Sorry.
So have a plan.
Have a plan.
Don't do what I did and Waveadept did, which is did something.
Yeah, if you have this whole knee-jerk reaction and go, right, today I'm just going to email these people, and then maybe in a month or so you might go, I haven't emailed them, but did I? I can't remember. I'll have a look through my emails. I can't find it. Did I do it? I'm going to do it again. And then you're going to get on this wonderful thing called a blacklist, and that's something else completely.
Awesome.
That's right, yeah.
Thank you. Now, where can people find you online?
Oh, everywhere. Okay, I have a website that I built. Now, I built it myself, so don't go on there and go, this is an awful piece of shit, because I did do it myself. Loudinpublic.co.nz. You can tweet me at LouDXX. Is that my Twitter handle? It is.
Okay.
It is. Yeah. There's a story about that too, but we won't go into it.
You posted about it, don't you?
Yeah, it's on my blog somewhere.
There you go.
Yeah.
Go read the blog.
Go read the blog.
And one thing you want to pimp yourself? One thing you want to talk
What are you
about?
up to lately that you're allowed to talk about?
Yeah, well, exactly.
Oh, yes, okay, something I'm really excited about. So I've just come back from the UK and Ireland, and I had a brilliant time away, and I talked to quite a few people over there. And one thing that I have figured out is that my goal is to make PR and comms service in New Zealand as affordable and accessible as possible, especially for startups and growth businesses. So I have developed a new package, I suppose. I hate the word package, but anyway, I suppose that's what it is. It's a, gosh, how can I explain it? It just makes things easier for people to get publicity, get their comms in order, and to sort themselves out. And it's really, really cheap, which is so good. So if you're interested in that, I suppose come and talk to me, because I've only got about 3 or 4 spots left. So
That's
awesome.
very cool.
yeah.
It's a great thing to pimp out.
It's not very articulate though. I haven't delivered that very well, probably because it's so new. And I mean I know what it is, and
Where can they find that? Have you got that on your site?
No, I want people to come talk to me. So you can ring me. You can email me, lou@loudandpublic.co.nz. You can ring me, go to my website, and you'll get my mobile number there. And done.
That was awesome. Being from an agency background, I can understand where Lou's coming from. Check out the extended interview on episode 11B. We apologise for the audio. We were in a supposed quiet cafe that just got progressively louder and busier as we chatted on.
Homework for you guys. Election special. As you know, we've booked in the tech reps from the 5 main political parties to give us time to explain their party's ICT policies. And we need your help with the questions. So go to the following short URL, which we will put in the show notes, and leave your questions on the form. Thanks, everyone. Right, the URL. Paper and pencil ready? It is g.w.gl/W, Don't worry, it's in the show notes. And thanks for everybody who's left their questions already. Some of them we can actually use.
Special shout out, thanks to Lou Draper, of course, for showing us some insights into how to communicate your tech story from a PR perspective.
And next week we have an interview with Owen Williams from Hoist. And he also writes all over the web. And if you're not on his weekly email, what's it called? Charged. If you're not on his weekly email, then you're missing out. But find out more next week.
And as always, don't take our wamble or jibber jabber as gospel. Get all the links to the stories that we reference in our show notes. All the notes are found in one place. They're linked from our #MePodcast post when it goes live on Tuesdays, or simply Google Access Granted Show Notes.
You can look on Twitter for me at Miramar Mike, and Raj is at NZRaj. Use our podcast hashtag, which is Access Granted, and email us on accessgranted@me.co.nz. And for all the hashtag goodness, such as the Twitter link, Facebook news, prizes, pages, articles, everything, go to #me.co.nz website.
Thanks for your time, and see you next Tuesday with the tech news for those who make the computers do what they do. Ka kite anō.
#me.co.nz